king of the earth, I don't feel steady anymore. I feel like
something is off.
My mind palace is having an earthquake right now, and I don't really know where to stand other than in a doorway, which is where you're supposed to stand during an earthquake. Unless that's just like fake news and a lie.
Thanks for the advice. We've actually just educated like the masses on what to do during an earthquake.
Unless I'm lying. I could just be wrong.
Maybe just who would say with Google.
I don't know.
Okay, game one. Bit of an earthquake of a match here, don't we? We have Fiend and SAC teaming up, going up against Neuz and May, and let's see what they got. So the winner side match that we got to cast, the winner semis of May and Neuz, they got kind of cooked by Vem10 Kilo and Wes. I'm curious to see how they'll be able to do now. May, currently, she's trying to get back onto the stage, and she will not be able to do so successfully as SAC just guards the stage, holding it down, able to get that side off as well. My goodness.
Now, we talked about the previous two teams coming into this set, both of them 3-0, so confidence and momentum was on their side. It's a different story here in the Elimination semifinals. May and Neuz, of course, coming in off of that Game 5 clutch against Power and Neuz. Meanwhile, SAC and Fiend easily glided. Is that the past tense of glide? I can't remember. Glowed? They glunded here into the Elimination semifinals off of a 3-0 against Vicina and Reaper Black. So definitely like two different mindsets going into this.
These were the ones that knocked them into Elimination.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
May and Neuz in a Game 5 were the ones to be able to take out their opponents, to be able to take out their foes, and they made that upset. And right now, it is just about as even as it could be at the moment. Neuz looking to make it back on nice and safe, avoiding the pogo. Makes it back on. SAC able to get that side off and going to be cleaning up May's second stock, putting her on one last one. Neuz, that side sig not enough to do it quite yet. May wants to, I believe that was a side up for like a GCD sig.
Yes, let's see. There's the side sig coming out from May to get that KO, grabs the double knockout. So continuing this even spread across the board. We've seen a couple nasty Val swaps today. May is one of them, and then of course Neuz going on to the Val, having an absolutely amazing Val that we saw. So Val is of course still very much alive, even after the neutral signature nerf a long time ago. Love to see this legend out here. Okay, Neuz taking SAC off the top, and not just off that stock, but out of this game. Fiend in the 1v2, but regular. This
Neuz needs to relax. Neuz has just been on point. Almost everything that he had gone for has actually connected. May going off stage, looking for that downer, spacing it out nice and safe, committed a little bit too much, but now Fiend using the sider as a way to get her off of him, and now Fiend looking for that recovery, looking for the neutral. May just hiding behind Neuz, keeping himself nice and safe here, and what a combo!
Great pickup there, coming out from Neuz with the D-Light side air off of the setup from May that may or may not have knocked out, so you had to be there to make sure to put Fiend absolutely into that blast zone. Otherwise, there's always that potential that Fiend can come back. I don't think we're...
Look at how much damage Neuz dealt that game. 617 damage. Everybody else across the board, 437, 389, 409. Neuz lapped everybody in damage with a 1.5 times multiplier. That is crazy. Neuz, especially on that last stock, was just popping off. Neuz is the one that I'm going to be looking at going into this set.
Yeah, I need to pay attention to that as well, because I was doing a lot of looking at SAC, and I was doing a lot of looking at May as well. She was doing such a great job. She's swapping weapons almost immediately. That helps keep that weapon spot away from SAC, who's kind of getting handled right now by Neuz.
Yeah, Neuz was dealing a lot of damage, finally getting almost, a slight 2v1 combo going, cut a little bit short. Okay, SAC going out there with the D-Light. Let's see what it's going to be. Dash jumping, waiting, falling back. Oh. You have to be so careful. Your teammate is off stage. May does unfortunately miss that, though. That could have been huge.
That was Neuz also like letting the intrusive thoughts of the Orion player take over and be like, I gotta go for the neutral signature. I mean, come on. They're serving it to me up on a silver platter. I gotta take it. Ultimately, didn't have quite the timing and spacing on it for it to work out. And SAC and Fiend end up taking the lead here. You saw that neutral signature come out. Not enough to KO just yet. SAC with the stomp side light, hoping he can get more off of that before he falls, but he's not able to. And now it's Fiend fighting for his first stock, and that's gonna fall as well. Ultimately ended by May. Oh, they dropped them over for that combo, but somehow re-pick it up.
Okay, love that chase dodge. Gets that cross up and in with the recovery as well. Coming back in with the sider, doesn't find the downer. Neuz is popping off right now, getting so many consecutive hits. Fiend taking a lot of damage in that interaction, finally able to swat him off. now jumping on over to the left side of the stage here. That's the stomp into the side of May, able to get that off, but is she going to be able to make it back onto the stage from so deep? The recovery actually reset the situation. That was kind of favorable.
Fiend was loving those ground pounds there, hoping he find a little bit more. The first one he threw out ended up missing because he didn't throw it out early enough to combo off of the stomp side air from SAC. Oh, it looked like he was going for a GCD sig there to cover both sides of him, but there was the interruption from May. Fiend ultimately getting the KO off the top. With the recovery, we have 3 stocks to 2, but SAC is extremely damaged. A lot of that damage was specifically put out by May.
And in fact, SAC's priority is to make sure, like, hey, if I lose the stock right now, I hope that Fiend will not eat the nastiest 2v1 combo in existence. Okay, SAC stock is gone. Now let's take a look at what happens. You have about 3 seconds to make something happen, and unfortunately, Neuz ends up hitting his own teammate. May took a little bit of that damage from the neutral lane.
Oh, but they all of a sudden immediately turned it around and put that damage out onto SAC. But it was Fiend doing a great job of like continuing to move to the right so that Neuz was having to back up each time because May was having to push forward in order to keep their spacing at that like exactly where you want it to be based on how Fiend was damaged. There's the side signature, gets the KO. SAC's got to be careful. He's in this 1v2. He doesn't really have the freedom to go for stomp side airs here. You do see him going for stomp. He does get the side air there because Neuz was all the way on the left side of the stage. There wasn't enough time for him to rotate over.
Good recognition for him not to commit to anything. Otherwise, SAC would have been the one to find a whiff punish in that moment. Off stage against Hammer. Anything can possibly happen. Neuz holding it down though. And now they're up 2-0 against SAC and Fiend, and they are on the precipice, on the verge of getting the double jeopardy, the double elimination against the ones that got upset here to begin with.
And at the end there, in that edge guard, when it was SAC with that hammer in his hand, they did a great job of staying kind of at 45 degree. Neuz had to go over him for just a moment, but at the end, they were really kind of at that 45 degree angle to up and right and then bottom right as well. So like he can't really scoop with the down air to get the one below him, and he can't really reach up with the recovery to hit the one at the 45 degree angle above him because that's not where the hitbox is for those moves.
They visualize that blind spot, and that is so important when you go off stage against Hammer because it is always going to be innately risky. This is the weapon of reversals. This is the one where you misspace something above Hammer and you're like, oh, that's cool. I deserve the recovery. This is fine. It's actually not fine at all. So, you know, they angled themselves away from it. There was absolutely nothing that Hammer could have covered in that moment and able to space out that ground pound safely. So beautiful stuff, excellent spacing. And we'll be going on into game number 3. The characters have been locked in. Let's see what we got.
SAC is swapping skin over to the Roman Reigns, which is the most meta Taros skin currently in the game. That's what all the Taros players are really opting for. We saw several of them, not only in South America, but also in EU. You're pointing.
Look at Neuz. I'm just looking at Neuz right now. Everything that Neuz is going for is connecting. A little bit too early for that stock to have exploded off the top, but I know Fiend wanted that. Fiend was fiending for it in that moment. So now slowing it back down, getting back to the stage. Again, counter hits all over the place. And you're not going to get away with that neutralite, or you're not going to get away with punishing it either.
And in that moment, while you were talking, May was doing such a great job of hitting back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back moves on Fiend as well, and avoiding any punishment. You're a big fan of Neuz right now.
Neuz's interruption saved May and still got a stock off to boot. Neuz is amazing right now. Neuz is my MVP this game.
You're a Neuz head, and I don't blame you for it.
Got to keep up with the times, you know?
Yeah, this is probably the only Neuz that you can watch and not be depressed.
Okay, that's being said, Fiend going to be taking off May's first stock, that is right. Neuz currently just looking for any way to get down here. Fiend's juggling has been so good, just using the spear recovery, doing what it does best, which is horizontal coverage.
Lance also does a great job with that as well, so you're able to kind of carry over that mindset across both weapons when you are a player like that. Okay, gravity cancel, neutralite. May is so
Such
good.
A smart option.
May is so good. Ended up picking up both with that. It has that unique property when you end up going off the edge or when you gravity cancel it, so it's a little bit different of a hitbox than if you just threw it out straight in the middle of the main platform.
Okay, oh,
he's doing Taro stuff.
That was awesome. That was great.
Didn't even need the neutral signature from Fiend. That one does make contact, gets the stock as well. Fiend doing a great job here, despite having the lowest defense so far in this game, doing the best job surviving, still on second stock compared to everybody else. May still doing a great job. Oh, that ended up taking out. That was in orange. That was a side signature so far to the right. I feel like we're looking at Val gameplay from like 2019.
This is crazy. This is insane. May and Neuz are playing phenomenally at this point, and Fiend is just looking for any possible opening, any possible bit of hope. It is looking quite unlikely. Look at these combos that are coming out, but missing the Neutralite.
Even though that first down air came out way too early from May, she was still able to find the second one, doing it through the soft platform. Insane ability to like drop the combo, which is like kind of a negative, but still be able to pick it back up at least for one more hit. And there you have it, the 3-0, yet another surprising upset. This time it is Neuz and May taking out SAC and Fiend.
I do not know what happened in Comp League 2 for it to go Game 5, because this looked like an open and shut case on behalf of May and Neuz. SA is doing what they do best, which is just steamroll through their opponents and play really, really fast. May and Neuz looking phenomenal.